karma really is a guiding mechanism to allow you to be capable of feeling when you are out of tune, out of alignment, and that vibration of feeling out of alignment, the karmic vibration, in that sense, thus is your guidepost, is your marker, is your alignment tool. It lets you know when you have, in a sense, strayed outside the boundaries of the vibration that represents your natural self, your true self, the vibration that you prefer to be, and allows you to sense, to feel when you are out of alignment with that, so that you can give yourself the opportunity to recognize that, to always know that you are being guided by that vibration, and thus then, if you so desire, if you so prefer, if you so choose, to bring yourself back into alignment by recognizing the vibration as being something other than what you prefer.
Spread love, man.
Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. So today we're going to be looking at an excerpt from a talk about karma. And
Cool.
It seems like we're going to be looking at it from a different perspective than the typical you get what you deserve sort of thing.
Yeah, that you reap what you sow kind of.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see what this new perspective has to offer.
Me too. I'm excited to dive in.
All right, so this source is really emphasizing that karma is about balance and alignment, not punishment.
Oh, interesting.
Like it's this inner compass always pointing us towards our true north, you know?
Yeah, I like that. And what I find really interesting is that the source connects this to the idea of synchronicity.
Okay.
It's saying that those meaningful coincidences that we experience in our lives, both the good and the bad, are actually reflections of our internal state.
Wait, so you're saying even those times when everything seems to go wrong, those could be like a form of synchronicity?
Yeah, exactly. The source says we tend to only notice synchronicity when it's positive. But those challenging experiences, you know, the ones that make you go, ugh, why me?
Yeah.
Those are important too. They're like these big neon signs pointing out where we might be out of sync with ourselves.
I can see how that could be helpful.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, myself included, sometimes might feel a bit of fear around that.
Oh, for sure.
Because of that whole traditional view of karma as punishment.
Right.
It makes you kind of hesitant to even look at those times where you feel like you're misaligned.
It's understandable. The source actually speaks directly to this fear and reminds us that creation doesn't make mistakes. Your existence itself is proof of your worthiness. You know, you are worthy enough to experience unworthiness.
Whoa.
You're capable of having any experience you choose.
That's a really powerful way to put it.
Yeah.
It kind of takes the pressure off a bit.
Right.
And helps us see these experiences as chances for growth instead of punishments.
Absolutely. And that's where this idea of symbols comes in. The source is encouraging us to look at the situations we find ourselves in as like symbolic reflections of our internal state.
So like the universe is speaking to us in a language of symbols.
Exactly. Let's say you keep experiencing frustrating delays.
Ugh, I hate that.
Right. Instead of getting angry, maybe ask yourself, what belief inside of me might this be mirroring? Could it be a fear of moving forward, or maybe a lack of trust in the timing of my life?
That's so interesting. It completely changes how you look at those annoying situations.
Right. It turns those delays into opportunities for self-discovery.
Yeah.
And that's what this new perspective on karma is all about.
Yeah.
Using our experiences to understand ourselves better and to get closer to living in alignment with who we truly are.
It's like that saying, your karma just ran over your dogma.
I love that one.
This source is really pushing us to let go of those old limiting beliefs about karma.
Yeah.
And embrace its potential as a guide.
Exactly. By choosing to see karma not as this enemy, but as a compassionate feedback system.
Yeah.
We can turn that fear into curiosity and use every experience, good or bad, as a stepping stone.
This is already making me rethink how I see karma. It's so much deeper than I thought.
It really is a rich concept.
Yeah.
And there's still so much more to uncover in this source.
Okay.
But before we move on, I'm curious, what resonates with you the most so far? What's standing out to you about this new perspective on karma?
I'm really fascinated by this idea that those challenging experiences are just as valuable as the positive ones when it comes to figuring out our karma, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's like they're showing us parts of ourselves we might not see otherwise.
Totally. And what's even more interesting is that the source is saying karma isn't always a direct reflection of our actions.
Okay.
It's not as simple as you do this and then this will happen.
So it's not like some cosmic scorekeeper up there keeping track of everything.
Not exactly. It's way more nuanced than that. How karma plays out is often symbolic. You know, it's kind of like dream symbolism.
Right.
The situation might seem totally random on the surface, but there's a deeper meaning there if you look closely.
So let's say, for example, I keep ending up in situations where I feel like nobody's listening to me or they just don't get me.
Yeah.
Could that be a sign of something going on inside?
Totally.
Yeah.
It could be showing you that you need to speak up more authentically or set some stronger boundaries. The key is to approach these situations with curiosity instead of judgment.
Okay.
Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try asking, what's this trying to teach me?
That's a great way to reframe it.
Right. It puts you back in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
You go from feeling like a victim to being an active participant in your own growth.
But how do we even know what these situations are trying to teach us? Like, how do we figure out those symbolic messages?
Well, that's where the source's emphasis on willingness comes in. You have to be willing to look inside at your own beliefs and patterns, even if it's uncomfortable. It's about trusting that these experiences, even the tough ones, are leading us to a deeper understanding of ourselves.
It's like we're not being punished for being out of alignment, but actually guided back into alignment.
Exactly.
Like a cosmic GPS recalculating our route to make sure we get where we need to go.
I love that analogy. And the more we trust that GPS, the less we'll freak out when there's a detour or an unexpected turn.
So true. There's something so freeing about that. It takes away all that fear and guilt and lets us see those moments of misalignment as opportunities for growth.
Yeah. It's all part of the journey.
And it makes me wonder what happens when we really embrace this view of karma. You know, the source even talked about it evolving into something beyond what we understand now, like chakma or jumbo jetma.
I love that. It's like, as we evolve, our understanding of karma evolves too.
Yeah.
Maybe it becomes less about individual lessons and more about collective shifts in consciousness.
Whoa, that's a big idea. So if karma is about balance and alignment, what happens when a bunch of people start living in alignment with who they really are?
That's a great question. It's exciting to think about all the possibilities that open up when we let go of the fear around karma and see it as this guiding force.
This deep dive is really making me rethink how I see the challenges and synchronicities in my life.
Absolutely.
And there's still one more thing from the source that we need to unpack. This idea that karma is ultimately about moving beyond all the struggle and effort and transcending it altogether. That's something I never considered before.
I gotta say, this whole idea of transcending karma is kind of blowing my mind.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It seems almost like a contradiction. How can we move beyond something that feels so, like, built into reality?
It definitely stretches our thinking, but the source presents it in a way that makes it feel possible.
Okay.
It's not about, like, erasing karma or escaping it.
Right.
It's more about evolving past the need for those constant lessons, you know?
So instead of karma being this outside force controlling us,
Right.
it's about realizing we're already whole and aligning with that. Exactly. The source uses this metaphor of karma being like a siren trying to get our attention. It's pointing out those spots where we're resisting our true selves, where we're off track.
So those moments where things feel off, those negative synchronicities, they're actually helping us get back on course.
Exactly. They're like those warning lights on your car's dashboard telling you something needs attention.
Okay.
But as we become more aware of those internal signals, as we start living more authentically, that siren starts to fade away. We're not resisting anymore, so there's less need for those course corrections.
I really like that image. It reminds me of a sailor who knows how to read the wind and the currents.
Oh, yeah.
They're not fighting against them, they're working with them.
Beautiful analogy. And it shows that transcending karma isn't about being perfect or never having problems.
Right.
It's about developing deep inner awareness and trusting the flow of life.
It sounds like shifting from fear and struggle to acceptance and surrender.
Exactly. And the source suggests that this shift might be the key to unlocking the next level of evolution for us, both individually and as a whole. Remember how the source talked about karma becoming truckma or jumbo jetma?
Yeah.
It's hinting that as we grow, our understanding of karma grows too.
It makes you wonder what happens when we all reach that place of greater alignment, you know?
Yeah.
Does karma as we know it disappear? Does it change into something totally different?
Those are some big questions. And while we might not have all the answers, this deep dive has definitely given us a new way to think about karma.
For sure.
Not as a punishment, but as a guide on our journey of self-discovery.
I'm seeing it as an ally now, not something to be afraid of.
That's great to hear. And remember, this journey is ongoing. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into the mysteries of life.
Absolutely. Who knows what amazing insights are waiting for us as we continue to learn and grow.
Well said.
This deep dive has given us so much to think about. And to all our listeners out there, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this new perspective on karma.
Yeah, definitely.
Until next time, keep those questions coming and keep diving deep.